Hello, all you awesome people out there. Welcome and welcome back to Geek Business Entertainment. I'm your host, as always, Hoover, and we are back with another edition of I Just Watched. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about Disney Plus's Ironheart. I'm going to tell you things I liked, things I didn't, kind of tell you how the story worked out, how maybe some things that didn't work out, and just kind of my bleh, general thoughts and impressions of the series. As if you haven't already, check out the rest of the stuff on the channel. I do quite a bit of these, not full in-depth reviews, kind of just general overviews. And like I said, I just kind of talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, and just my general thoughts on the show or movie in general. So feel free to check out the rest of them on my channel. Talk about like Daredevil, Paradise, Invincible, Thunderbolts. I got a few things up there, so feel free to check those out up on the channel here. But of course, here, like I mentioned today, we're going to be talking about Disney Plus's Ironheart, the series that this is by the way, this is pretty long overdue. Ironheart came out like months ago at this point, and I'm only just now getting down to it, along with another review I got lined up and planned too. Both of them are series that I finished a while ago. Well, a series and a movie I saw a while ago. But I'm just now getting around to doing this for Ironheart. So just bear with me here. Just bear with me. All right, all right. But anywho, let's stop talking and let's get to the review or the impressions here, shall we? All right, so Ironheart was released on June 25th through July 1st. That's why it's like a month since it just came on that I'm finally getting around to this. It is available only on Disney Plus, allegedly. The show was written by Chakana Hodge, Marlene Howard, Christian Martinez, Amir Suleiman, Jackie, and Francesca Gallus. The series was directed by both Samantha Bailey and Angela Barnes, and the show stars Dominique Thorne, Anthony Ramos, Lyric Ross, Angie White, Matthew Elam, and Eldon uh, Einreich. I think I'm saying his name right. the only non the only Caucasian guy on the list whose name I cannot name. All right, so the story follows Riri Williams as she returns home to Chicago from her time in Wakanda with the hopes to build herself a brand new suit, but lacks the material to do so. That mostly being the materials and also the money to achieve her vision. She finds herself sought out by Parker Robbins, who promises to help her get what she's looking for, but it will come with a price. Now the plot overall for the show is fairly simple, but I feel like the thing it suffers from the most is probably its length. Um, okay, that's already low. All right, but it also kind of benefits from it in a very odd way if you get what I mean. And what I mean by that is we got from what we got maybe 6 episodes was enough because what we got was decent. And if maybe there wasn't much to chew on for the series, if just the 6 episodes, which you where you can kind of clearly directly play to your point, and it still kind of feel like we didn't really get all that. But also, there were some elements I feel could have been done better if we got more time with it. Like for example, one of the top things we talked about was Riri and Xavier's relationship. Xavier is Riri's friend back in her hometown. But clearly, there seems to be a little bit more there. It was done well. And it did kind of leave more to be expanded upon and progress through later. So I thought that was done pretty well in the short amount of time they did it. But then you have like Ezekiel's story, who I felt was very rushed and not really given the time it needed to actually breathe. Like episode 3 was good. 6 was a nice finale, but everything else was kind of just there. Like when the show is working, it works, and when it ain't, it ain't. You know what I mean? So again, it's only 6 episodes, so it's not really much to talk about, not really much to go upon. But yeah, very weird way. I feel like 6 episodes was like enough, but I feel like it was enough, but I feel like we didn't truly flex the muscle they probably needed to truly play everything well within that 6 episode window. If that makes sense. All right, so some things I liked. Obviously, I mean, I guess I should say, if from that you couldn't tell, this ain't gonna be that lengthy. It's not gonna be that lengthy. 'Cause like I said, it's not a lot, not really a lot to kind of go on. Like I mentioned, um, so some things and elements I want to talk about more. More magic. Interesting enough, you probably wouldn't think from the Ironheart series we get a lot more magic from this, but we do. Um, hold on, let me. All right, my bad. Had to do some quick on the fly adjustments there, but shit, what was I talking about? Magic. You wouldn't think you get more magic in a series like this. It being Ironheart and all. But besides the corner of like Doctor Strange and maybe like WandaVision, we haven't gotten too much magic in the MCU thus far. But this series does give more of it. Um, I know the series has been out for like actually, you know what? This series has been out for like a month, so this might be a little different. I might be spoiling things a little bit more here. But yeah, the fact that we got a little bit more magic in this one, it was surprising, but it was also very welcome. I feel like the magic is still a lot left to give in the MCU. Like I said, the only corner we've got in that is like Doctor Strange. Like I said, WandaVision gave it to us a little bit, but we haven't gotten too much magic in the MCU, unfortunately. So I'm glad we got more of that. The Mephisto cameo, I really like that. He finally gets introduced. It was cool to see. Now I originally wrote this before our last news drop and before the reports of that Kevin Feige interview came out, because I was hoping, I was wondering what role he would have overall in the MCU as a whole. I said I could see him coming back as maybe like the big bad of the TV universe, sort of like the Thanos of the TV universe. Um, but it seems like it's a little unknown, or he's just playing it very close to the chest right now. But it seems like we might not be seeing too much of Mephisto after this. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Um, yeah, that is about all I got for that one. Um, moving on. Let's see. What I liked. Let's talk about a little bit about what I liked in the show. Um, I like the way they implemented like the title cards in the background. That was really cool. It reminded me of like the really cool element they had for Miss Marvel back in when that aired, and it was like they utilized the background and a lot of shit in the back. I thought that was really cool. So I like to see the title card pop up on like the the street signs, or in that first episode where she like crashes on the ground, the rubble spells out Ironheart. I thought that was a really cool dope thing to talk about. Like I mentioned, the third episode, I think the third episode might be the best in the series. Really had me hooked in. Really kind of did a good job of setting up what was to come in the second half of the series. And I thought I think episode three is the show when it works the most. I also really like the twist slash the reveal of Ezekiel. Like I said, I might be spoiled. I'm gonna spoil things a little bit here. The show's been out for like a month now. The reveal that old boy is Obadiah Stane's son. I thought that was very interesting. Sort of having, sort of a replay from a callback all the way back in freaking the first Iron Man movie. I thought that was a really cool callback to all that, and how we kind of, we're finding ourselves sort of repeating the steps here for Ironheart. Um, so yeah, that's about all I really liked. As for what I didn't like, for as much as I liked the third episode, I feel like the payoffs didn't really hit too bad. The final fight was very lackluster. The climax and the final climax fight at the very end, I thought was a little bit of a letdown. And speaking of things that didn't hit, I feel like that goes for a lot of moments in the series. There was the moment with Natalie when she got the new suit, and Natalie kind of was about to get like erased or something. I feel like that didn't really hit because I feel like I feel like the relationship never really got a chance to fully come into its own. Um, mostly because I feel like it kind of tap danced around her being very open and vulnerable and finally accepting Natalie to kind of just them tolerating each other by the end, or her tolerating her by the end. Yeah, I just feel like it didn't really hit. Ezekiel's story, like I mentioned, it all happened in such a truncated manner. I feel like it needed a lot more time to play out, which unfortunately we didn't really get. So it doesn't leave a lot for the moments to hit like they supposed to hit or they should hit, and that's just kind of how I feel about that. Um, Also, I felt like the side characters might need a little bit more in this as well. Um, there's a moment when the hood like finally realizes that Riri is like his enemy. So like Riri in a desperation move, she tries to get her and her mom to leave Chicago, and they have this whole moment where like it's just like, hey, we aren't gonna run. This is our home. This is Chicago. This is my home. This is where I'm from. Kind of shit like that. But again, I feel like it didn't really hit the way it should because it never really showcased um how important Chicago is to Riri. It didn't really showcase like a true symbiotic relationship between the two. You know what I mean? Like she didn't really have a lot of moments of just being in the city. It didn't really show too much of her really interacting with many people outside of like her immediate circle. Like there was a kid who helps her in like the first episode, and he comes back like maybe one time before the finale. Um, it just it just it didn't really have all that, and like all her friends and stuff, they all come together to help her build the new suit. Again, like kind of I mentioned with the thing with Natalie and Riri earlier. Xavier and Natalie also didn't really have a true moment of closure in that one. Again, it just kind of seemed like they just kind of she just kind of tolerated it for a minute. You know what I mean? So I feel, again, it's one of those things where it's like where I kind of talk about the timing of things and how you know either give it more episodes to really kind of explore all these relationships or put that as the main focus or put more focus on that in the 6 episodes we had, and I feel like they didn't. So yeah, there's that. So for my final thoughts, Ironheart isn't the best thing Marvel has done, but it also isn't the worst. Um, of course, we gotta talk about it. I gotta mention it. The online discourse that came when the show was announced and when it aired was crazy, and it's definitely not as terrible as the online discourse would have you believe. I won't advocate for anyone to actually rush to watch it now, um, but it is a nice short show that you can check out when you're ready. When the highs are high, they're high, but when the lows are low, they're low. No performances truly stick out uh, for me too much, but everyone does their job with no one sticking out for having a poor performance. And while the 6 episode count make it easy and quick and simple to viewing, it may also be have a negative impact on storylines, characters, and emotional moments that are meant to tug at our hearts, but they don't because we aren't given enough time to truly connect with it. Overall, I'd say Ironheart is cool and leaves things in an interesting position for the future to kind of see where things go. So yeah, as somebody who's again, it's not great, but it's not bad. I might I give it like a 5. It's I guess in the words of some of the young people, it's very mid. It's average, but it's there are some things there that you can see what they were trying to do. I just feel like they didn't accomplish it well enough. So it's a pretty average show. Like I said, I'm not gonna tell you to go out and watch it now, but I'm also going I'm not saying completely avoid it and it's completely skippable. Again, it's up to your own interpretation. If you view it as something, I watched it, I thought it was interesting enough, it kept my attention in there and everything, but overall, I am willing to admit that yeah, it's not very much. It's not much going for it there. But what is there is at least somewhat enjoyable. So there you go. Like I said, it's probably gonna be the shorter end of these ones because but yeah, that is I just watched Ironheart. If you like it, hey, let me know what you thought of the show in the comments below. Unless you're one of these go woke, go broke fuck niggas, then just don't even bother. Please don't. just please don't. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the show down in the comments. Check out some of the other stuff I got on the channel as well. We got other shows, we got other movies. This one was overdue. I got a Superman one that I'm probably about to record right now after this, because I saw it the second weekend it was in theaters. So that will probably be out sometime after this. So feel free to check that one out too. Also, I have one more coming. Probably by the weekend. I say I want to say, but we'll have to see. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I very much do appreciate it. Until next time, everybody. Always remember to stay watching, to stay playing, stay awesome, but most importantly, stay safe out there. Till next time, everybody. I will see you all later. Goodbye.